Hello, Jenny Hall here for Trinity Stamps. Today we are going to be creating a slimline treat box with a Halloween theme made from the Slimline Envelope Builder and the new add-on set from Trinity Stamps. We're going to start out with something from the original Slimline Envelope set. That's going to be the long rectangle, and we'll cut 2 pieces. Now from the new add-on set, we'll cut 2 side boxes and 2 of the rounded box ends. Now we're going to cut from the original die set, that's the Slimline Envelope Builder die set, to the little circles. I want to make a window area on the front of the box, so I'm using the modern embossed frame dies to cut out 3 frames all at one time. And then as you could see, that was the Slimline Quilted cover plate die, and I used that to cut a piece of vellum that we're going to place right behind those windows. These dies also work really great for creating shaker cards. You could even create a shaker window slimline treat box. Wouldn't that be fun? That's for another day. Today we're going to create just a standard box, and I'm using 1/4 inch double-sided sticky tape, and I am using the new Trinity Teflon tool to burnish all of the sides. I'm going to give these a nice fold and press, because we're going to adhere these down to one side of the box at a time. Now we will add some of that same double stick tape just to that bottom scored area, and this is going to be the top and the bottom of the box. What creates the box versus the envelope are these pieces here. If you notice that they don't just have a scored flap, they have a 3-piece section. We have the little place right here, about 1/4 inch to fold over. Now we have that middle area, and that's going to give it the raise up to create a box. And there's the part that folds in. So this is what the difference is between the Slimline Envelope add-on and just a regular Slimline Envelope Builder. So now on that same front of the box, we're going to start attaching the sides. As you can see, they also are 3-sectioned, and that's going to give it a rise in order to create a box instead of just an envelope. We're going to use that same double stick tape, peel it off, and ideally I would suggest to use liquid glue just to give yourself a little bit of wiggle room, but for the video today I'm using the double stick strong tape. Now to create the back, we're going to just put it on one side at a time, and that's going to remove the tape and then press down that backing, and then just fold the box back up, and there you have it. It's really that simple. One end of the box I want to seal permanently, so I've adhered some more of that double stick tape and just put it down there, and now that end is not going to come open at all. For the top end of the box, I want to have the little circle clasp system, and so I'm adhering with those 2 little die cuts, and I've got the same double stick tape, and then I'll put a piece of twine wrapped around it, and that will keep the box closed. This box is going to be given to one of the children that are in my kids' classroom. In fact, I'm probably going to make about 25 of these boxes. I know that's a crazy thought, isn't it? But I think this is a perfect treat package to be able to put some pre-packaged goodies in and send to the classroom in order for the kids to celebrate Halloween. So now let's turn this into a seasonal Halloween package by customizing it with some images. This is a look at the new pumpkin head stencil. It is a layering stencil set, and it is so cute and just the right size pumpkins. I'm using some inks from Ink on 3. These are the Atelier inks, and they layer really great together. They also blend really well together. So first I've started off with some orange, and then I'm blending in some yellow, and it just kind of makes a nice warm looking pumpkin. I added in a little bit of red, and then I've moved directly north on that stencil, and that's going to give me the progression of what order to add the images. So I did the first two. Now I'm lining up that third, and that little strip of paper there is a post-it note tape, and that gives me just enough room to make sure that my ink blending doesn't go a little off target and get the next area all inky. So here is the next step, and there's two pieces that are side by side, left and right, for the pumpkin stem. So I'm just using the same color. I used a very light coat of green first, and now I'm going to just add a little concentrated green, and that's enough to make it stand out. So now I get to pick what face to put on the pumpkin, and there are 4 different faces to choose from. I want to make sure that it's a happy looking face and not a scary face, as my children are not going to understand gifting the scary stuff at their ages. So I'm just being very careful to make sure that I keep all of the ink on the stencil. Now I'm going to use that second stencil and create another pumpkin, but I'm going to give it a little bit of a different look. Instead of having really strong, vibrant colors, I'm going to go much lighter so that my layering will show up much better. So I'm starting out with some orange, and then I'll bring in a lot more yellow for this pumpkin, because in real life, they're not all the same exact color. So I'm starting off on that first one and just getting a nice blend. Then I'm moving up to the second stage and using more orange. On the first pumpkin, I did this with red, but I think that the orange just kind of stands out nicely against that nice, beautiful color that emerged from the mixture of the yellow and the orange together. Now to stage 3. I'm making sure that I get it lined up. I don't want to have to go back and redo the entire pumpkin, so I'm taking the extra time to be sure that I get it lined up properly. So now, because I did orange on the last stage, I'll use the red. And these colors work together so nicely. It's not like a totally different color. That red just blends in right with everything else. Now I'm going to use the set of stems that go with that, but I'm thinking that I could use the other stems that are on the opposite side too, because they just point a different direction, and I don't see why I couldn't use that. It didn't occur to me when I was using the stencil, but it does now. So you have options on what direction you want the stem to point. Pretty cool. Now I'm going to choose another face, and this is going to be another happy face. And I'm going to this time break up that tape, because this is the last time I'll be using it, and I want to make sure that I didn't get any extra ink where it's not supposed to be. I did that on one of the other pumpkins, and I noticed it, so I'll be sure to blend that out in the end. I like the look of going really light with the black on the first stage of the pumpkin, and then using that same black to go in heavy, because it just kind of looks like a shadow to me. It's like there's a shadow of the black, and then there's the really darker part of the black pumpkin eyes and the mouth. So I'm going to cut these out. There is not a coordinating die because this is not a stamp set. It is a stencil set, and I don't mind just fussy cutting them. And then I want to give a little bit more look around the edges. So I've gotten my orange ink pad back out, and I really like it. I like the way that the contours are appearing, and it's just going to be more vibrant. But that first pumpkin is already pretty vibrant. Now I'm going to go around each one of these. I did color another pumpkin off camera there and did not put a face on it because I want to have a trio of pumpkins on the finished product. Now I'm going to use that green just to run over the little stem area. When you fussy cut, sometimes there's a little bit of a cut edge whenever you have the paper cut. And so I wanted to make sure that I made it all look cohesive. I know I'm taking all the extra time, and this is going to be for a 6-year-old child who's going to immediately demolish the whole thing. But that's okay. It's pride in the workmanship, and I know that it's going to look nice. Now I want to add my greeting, and this is from one of my favorite stamp sets called A Sentiment for Almost Everything, and my favorite die set, the 4-bar card die set. This is made for 4-bar cards, as I've said before, but that doesn't mean that that's all it's used for. I use this for layers, creating panels for my card fronts, and it's got a couple of banner dies in there too. And this is my most reached for die set. I find more uses for it than anything else. And I'm using my little prism machine from Spellbinders, and I'm going to use that Happy Halloween and see how perfectly it fits. It's like magic. So those two things like always stay on my craft desk. Now here's a look at the finished product, and you'll see that it holds a couple of Rice Krispie treats, a couple of fruit chews, and there's all kinds of possibilities. And because it has that vellum window, then a child will be able to see that there's something inside. I'm going to have to use something else to hold those little circles down and really get them to stay, like some liquid glue. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the Trinity channel today. Please be sure to subscribe and ring that bell to be notified for more tutorial uploads. Thanks for watching.